Welcome to the virtual lunch. Today is Friday, September 9th, and this is virtual lunch number 637. Our guest today is Puneet Bhakri, the Senior Vice President and Global Head of Alliances and Partnerships at SirionLabs. And this is part of our series on smarter contracting with SirionLabs. Puneet, great to see you.
Just wanted to introduce everyone to Puneet. He is in charge of our alliances, both as a contract management software company. We use partners to help implement the software. There's an implementation piece for enterprises. And then we also have tech alliances. There's lots of tools that lawyers use, the most common of which is Microsoft. But there are other tools, Salesforce on the sell side. There are all kinds of procurement tools that contract management software integrates to. So Puneet is in charge of all our alliances globally.
So just quick introduction, my side, as everybody's mentioned, right? SVP, Head of Global Alliances for Sirion. So I've been with the company now a little over 2 years. Prior to joining Sirion, I was with EY in the New York office for 15 years, driving their contract management business. So contract lifecycle management, anything to do with digital transformation, legal procurement is what I've done for a very long time now. So it's squarely in my space. And I was brought into Sirion about 2 years ago to build a global alliance function. We've built a pretty robust alliance network or partner network over the last 2 years with more than 12 partners now globally. And we've also built a pretty robust alliance function globally as well to support both A, the go-to-market strategy that we have with our partners, and then B, all the delivery and the implementation work that we do with partners as well. So, now we're trying to bring the best in breed CLM product to market along with the best in breed consulting partners. The key to building a good global alliance network, in my view, is you got to always start with the why, right? Why will a partnership make sense? Why would it make sense for us as a software company? And why would it make sense for another tech company? What will it do to the end customer? It takes time to understand what drives each other and then really understanding what would that partnership look like. See, everything is driven by business, right? At the end of the day, revenue solves all problems. The TAM is growing for the category, and more companies are looking to transform the way they do contract management, which means more and more companies are trying to go through a digital transformation journey when it comes to contract management. Everybody's very aware of a hyper growth category. So they're uniquely aware that they need to be ahead of the curve. They need to be able to start working with tech companies and software companies like Sirion in order to be early in taking the solution to market and participate in that growing and expanding TAM. Over the last 2 years, I think the company has been very sensitive to employees, right? Very sensitive to remote working conditions, remote working environment. As I said, right, we're a global company, you got resources in North America, multiple different cities and countries in Europe and Asia back presence as well, including India. And not every country went through the pandemic in a similar fashion, right? The challenges and the struggles were very different. And Sirion did an outstanding job of keeping on top of people's health. So the company did a lot to over communicate and do a lot of consistent outreach to the employees to make sure people felt safe and people felt that they're part of a family, right? That's table stakes. It's got to start with that. And then it's all about productivity tools, right? And productivity tools can only work if people feel safe and comfortable. Otherwise, irrespective of how many productivity tools you throw at them, it's not going to work. Can contract lifecycle management or contract management be the fourth pillar within an enterprise tech stack, right? Just like every company has an ERP solution, a P2P solution, and CRM solution. So you have 3 tech stacks all coexisting. And frankly, because they could not get CLM right, CLM is the 4th tech stack, right? Contract management as a standalone tech stack in its ecosystem, all intertwined, working with each other, integrated appropriately. And I think that is really what's driving the growth of the category. As I said early on, right, you got to start with the why, and that why can't be selfish. The easiest why is we want to be able to drive more demand, drive more sales. But if you put the partner first or the customer first, then your mindset and your lens changes a little bit, right? And you start to understand what would it take to truly be successful in this relationship. And the relationship cannot be transactional or tactical. For a partnership to be successful long-term, it has to be strategic in nature. And there are many different players, many different people in most ecosystems who impact any given client, given opportunity, given customer. So understanding that complexity also really helps to build a good relationship. The result should be an outcome. It should be an output of the good input that you have. And the input should be all the analysis you've done, evaluation you've done, to understand at the onset, will this partnership work? Will it add value to everybody in this ecosystem, for us, the partners and the customers? And if it does, and you do it right, the value and the results will show up.
That's a big part of a successful partnership, is reducing whatever frictions there are that could cause you to not have a relationship and make it more transactional. So I think that especially early in a relationship, it's very easy for it to sort of evaporate into the ether. So that's where you have to pay a lot of attention and try to get connected, engaged, and then those bonds become stronger, and then you can build from that base.
Historically, it's taken a long time for companies to contract, and the time consumption to draft, agree on, negotiate a contract has taken a very long time, right? And this adoption of technology within legal has also been slow and behind the curve. The big question is, who owns the budget? Who's going to drive the transformation? And then eventually, who's going to own the function? Because the people who are going to own the function will have to then own the budget. And the process is the hard part. Nobody wants to own that, and hence the hot potato, right, Ari, to your point. But everybody wants the outcome. So everybody's chasing the outcome and the data and the intelligence. And that's the self-serve component, not necessarily the self-serve part of the creation, execution, negotiation. So what more and more companies, more and more business stakeholders, more and more people are chasing today when it comes to contract management is not necessarily the management of the contract. It is the data and the intelligence associated with the contract. Where we are today, right, there's a lot of technology, a lot of automation. We definitely as a company are at the leading edge of automation, AI, NLP, ML, and trying to drive as much automation within the contract lifecycle process itself. Having said that, it's still a man-machine combination, right? You will need a healthy mix of technology and people. How much lift is the function or the people getting by using technology? So the manual component is not going to go away. The question is how much lift you get in the day-to-day activity of contract management, contract intelligence, data analytics, and so on and so forth. Change management definitely is a very critical aspect of transformation. I think it's more about people are saying, okay, this is going to require a lot of work and attention. And do we have the bandwidth, the budget, the capacity to take it on successfully? I think people have understood that this is required. So I don't think people are pushing back to the change, but people are trying to evaluate and understand what does it take to make the change happen. I think it starts by understanding what problem you're trying to solve for, really defining that problem statement, and then understanding which technology can best solve that problem. It can't be a price-based approach, right? It can't be a feature functionality-based approach. That's always a bad approach to pick technology. Define your problem statement first, like what problem you're trying to solve for, and then understand which technology can best solve your problem. And then figure out, okay, now that I've whittled it down to these one or two options that can best solve my problem, then let's figure out, other things like robustness of the technology, your price, ability to execute. Time is just one dimension. The question is, how efficient is the process, and do you have tools and technologies to help you with that efficiency? Time is an output of that, right? The time will reduce itself, the cycle time will reduce itself if you make the process more efficient. And the best way to create process efficiency is either redefine the process or deploy technology after you've redefined it. And then the outcome of that is more efficiency in time.
Puneet Bhakri, everybody. Puneet, thank you so very much for joining us for this virtual lunch. Thanks, of course, to SirionLabs for supporting our series on smarter contracting. And I hope everyone has a great weekend.